I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and Black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad. I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and Black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad. I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad. I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad. I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad. I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad.
Hello, everyone. How are you? This is Kathy Barnett. I am so very happy to have each of you guys on here tonight. I see there are so many of you out there. Please say hello. Get your questions ready because we have an amazing lineup tonight. You guys don't want to miss this. We're going to be hard hitting, moving quickly, stepping through something that is impacting each and every one of us. Tonight, we're talking, the Virtual BYOB is talking about reopening Pennsylvania. Yeah, this is an issue that is not a Republican issue, is not a Democrat issue, and it's not an independent issue. It is our issue. And that is what we're going to talk about today. Where do we find ourselves right now? What can we do as citizens? What can we do with our legislators? All of that. We're going to be talking about all of that. So I'm going to be talking about that. I'm very excited about it. I have several special guests. I'm very excited to get to my first one. But before I do, put up our ad if you can, because this Thursday, our graphic, this Thursday, guys, it is time for us to come out of the virtual world, and we are going straight to hitting the street. So we're coming off virtual and we're going to hit the street. Please go to my Facebook page at Kathy Barnett for Congress and register for our protest this Thursday. It is Be Silent No More. We have been silent long enough. And so this Thursday, we're coming off the virtual world. I know we've been on here for 60 plus days and we've all gotten comfortable, little keyboard warriors, but now it's time, right? And we see that this is taking place all over our nation. Harrisburg has perhaps had 3 of these protests already. And now we're going to be taking it to the seat of our own county here in Montgomery County in Norristown. So this Thursday, starting at 11 a.m., we're going to walk around the courthouse in Norristown, Montgomery County, the seat of our county. And then we're going to be standing on the steps, and you guys can see right there, my special guest, Senator Doug Mastriano, is going to be with us on Thursday. So you guys don't want to miss him. I know all of you guys, especially here, he was so surprised when I told him how much you guys love him in Montgomery County, because you know he's way up there in Franklin. But everyone is paying attention. This is not a partisan issue. This crosses the aisle. The reopening of our state, our nation, our county is very important to all of us. We all have a pound of flesh in this thing right now, right? Because we have all, the overwhelming majority of us have done the patriotic thing and stayed home in order to, quote unquote, flatten the curve. So anyway, I'm so excited to bring him on. You guys know how this works, the virtual BYOB. You hit the share button. You can host a watch party right now. We have to create the wind. We have to create our own wind right now, guys. Okay, we cannot rely on anyone else to get the word out about this campaign. You know as well as I, we need better leadership in Washington, D.C. And it starts with you and I. It doesn't start from the top down. It starts right here where we are sitting right now. So please help me get our message out by hitting the share button. Share it with all of your friends, as well as hosting your own watch party so other people can come in and see it as well. Okay? You know, this is BYOB, so tell us what you're drinking. I'm still getting through my gallon of water. So with that, let me pivot very quickly and introduce our first guest. You can bring them on. I'm so excited. We are going to be talking to none other than the senator himself, Senator Doug Mastriano. Welcome, Senator.
Thank you, Kathy. It sounds exciting over there, and I look forward to the event Friday. It's going to be a lot happening.
I'm so excited to have you. I'm so excited. Tell Reby we said hello, and your son.
I will, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, he just graduated, right?
Yeah, from boot camp last week.
How exciting, following in his father's footsteps. Guys, not that Senator Mastriano need any introduction for anyone in the state of Pennsylvania, but let me see if I can give it a try here, okay? So Senator Doug Mastriano is a first-term Republican representing the 33rd District, which includes Franklin, Adams, and part of York counties. And Senator Mastriano has demanded that Dr. Levine resign. We're going to talk about that. Senator Mastriano said Levine has committed the equivalent of policy malpractice in the handling of the coronavirus pandemic, specifically the handling of the virus's spread through nursing homes and other long-term care facilities. He has a long list of accolades, but he is a colonel. So we're going to talk a little bit about being called a coward, Colonel. In a moment. We're going to talk about that. I want to hear your response to that. But also, I think I first knew him as a military historian. Him and his son, I think you and your son wrote a book.
Yeah, I did the book with the family. We did the research into it.
Yes, I love that. It's a family affair, the whole crew of them. So, Senator, welcome.
Thank you. Exciting times and troubling times. Our Secretary of Health, indeed, is out of control and needs to go. And you rightly said the Secretary gave guidance on the 18th of March to allow COVID-19 positive patients to return back to the elder care facilities, long-term care facilities, and it unleashed a pandemic. And 2/3 of our deaths in Pennsylvania and 2/3 of our cases are happening there as a result of this medical malpractice. And to make matters worse, Kathy, if it can be, of course, elitists always think they're special and above the rules and laws. And the secretary smuggled the secretary's own mom out of a facility and put her up in the deluxe suite at Hershey Lodge with 24/7 care. So the secretary's mom's special, but the rest of our parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, brothers, and sisters are not. And this is just unconscionable. This is going on in Pennsylvania. The secretary needs to go. Incompetent.
I mean, beyond. I mean, how do you even find the right words to describe that? So our mothers, fathers, uncles, brothers, loved ones are languishing and dying in these nursing home facilities, long-term care facility, and yet Dr. Levine first writes a mandate that forces these nursing homes and long-term care facilities to admit COVID-19 positive patients. Yes. Then, to add insult to injury, the secretary takes the mother out of the nursing home and long-term care facility and places the secretary's mother, in a hotel so that she's safe while the rest of our loved ones are trapped in these. I mean, what has literally become a death trap.
Yeah, and in a morbid way, it's kind of like a disgusting case of insider trading. The secretary knew it was going to happen, and it would have been one thing if the secretary was honorable, doesn't have any experience, is a pediatric doctor with experience in eating disorders. But it would have been one thing had the secretary come out and said, look, we're really concerned about the safety and well-being of your loved ones in the healthcare system. And if you can afford to take them out for a few months, it might be a good idea. But none of that. Issuing orders, unleashing the pandemic, sneaking mom out, and then acting like it's no problem. And if anyone left or right can't see that, I mean, that's an issue. This person needs to go. And please.
I mean, no, again, this is not a Republican issue. This is not a Democrat or an independent issue. This is our issue. This is an American issue. I mean, because think about it. Almost a little bit over 60 days ago, our president came out and asked each of us to do the patriotic thing and to voluntarily self-contain for 14 days. Then after the 14 days, we were told, well, listen, we still need to flatten the curve. We're learning about these asymptomatic people, and we want to do our best. Continue to shutter your businesses, continue to close your doors and remain self-quarantined so that we can protect the most vulnerable among us. And then to find out that Dr. Levine has literally targeted the most vulnerable people among us as it relates to this COVID-19 pandemic, those who find themselves in nursing homes, long-term care facilities. And why did we many people have lost their livelihoods. I know people, people who are struggling with their family, with addiction. I've heard from a number of people who have said I've heard from a paramedic who said last week they did not receive any calls from COVID-19 positive people. Instead, they were inundated with those who tried to commit suicide. We were told to shut in order to protect the most vulnerable. Come to find out, Dr. Levine is targeting them.
Yeah, and you can't make this stuff up. And for the governor to act like the secretary is doing a great job is just madness. So instead of focusing on okay, so now we have this, and the secretary unleashes death in the elder care facilities. 2/3 of our deaths and cases. Unacceptable, and then doesn't even do anything about that. And Senator Dan Laughlin from Erie, I was with him in a hearing on this, and the senator confronted Levine on this and said, "What are you going to do about it to stop this, to end this pandemic within the facilities that was created by our secretary?" And the secretary does currently said, "I'll take note of it." Did nothing for 5-6 weeks. Took no action. Just let it go. And as a result, here we have a lot of hot spots around the state here. But they're mostly coming out of elder care facilities. And it's just sickening to me that we have these deaths that should never have been. And that's as a result of the incompetence, negligence, and malpractice of our secretary. Levine needs to go.
So where do we find ourselves right now? So that was 5 weeks ago. Now, of course, we knew this over 60 days ago, because the first time most of us heard about COVID-19 came out of a Seattle, Washington nursing home, where we saw the virus ravage, just like a brush fire moving through that particular nursing home facility. So we knew from the very beginning that those with compromised immune systems were at greater risk than the rest of us. So now, 5 weeks later, according to you, Dr. Levine was presented with this information and asked a question, "What are you going to do?" The secretary said, "I'll take note of it." So now, 5 weeks later, where are we?
Announced last week they're going to do more extensive testing in the homes. I mean, this is just too little too late, and the virus is running its course there, creating all kinds of havoc. And it just shows you how incompetent this person is. And just instead of focusing in and helping the most vulnerable and dealing with that problem and saving lives, Secretary came up with ways to have a spy on each other with the snitch line. And
yes.
Yes,
I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the snitch line. Did you guys know that there's a snitch line? Yeah, we're going to talk about that real quickly. Also, write your questions. Submit questions, and we'll present them to the senator right here as well. But get this right here. So now you have been spearheading, for the most part. I mean, like, your name is everywhere in spearheading the need for our state to reopen. You, along with 11 other counties, have said we're going to reopen. To that, Governor Wolf, spitting mad, as we say in the South, he was hot, and he came out in a press conference and called you a coward, you and everyone else. You, Colonel Mastriano, who fought. I mean, how many different places did you go to?
4 combat deployments.
Exactly, coward. He called you a coward. How did you feel about that? Are you a coward? So that's 2 questions. And third, where do you find, where are these 11 counties right now as far as reopening?
So yeah, it was interesting. Last weekend, I was so proud. 11 counties, including all 4 of mine that I have part of, or all of, declared independence. And then the governor came out, as you rightly said, mad as all get out, and he threatened people with retribution. He started calling us names, just like the ultra left always does. They resort to name calling, from the get go. They can't make an argument or case, just call people names. And yeah, we're cowards and traitors. We're running for the battle. But as for me, the governor indignantly said, "I'm staying in this fight." I mean, give me a break. It is funny how these people on the left, when they get the powerful positions, they want to use military terminology, but they were too afraid to go ahead and serve themselves, in the military when they had the chance. And so here we go. The governor came out, and his words actually scared 4 of the counties away. One of them being my own home county here, scared him into cowardice. 2 of my county commissioners sent a repentant letter to the governor begging for mercy, and no mercy was given. Did them no good in the end. We're still in the red zone. So on the other side here, as far as being a coward, I'll let your viewers judge that. But in military intelligence, we have something called consider the source. And in this case here,
yes.
the governor said it, consider the source.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Listen, that was just rhetorical. I did not expect you to answer that. I'm so grateful for your service. I'm so grateful for your family service. And now your son is following in your footsteps. And I'm very grateful for the sacrifice that you and your family have made on behalf of this nation. Thank you.
Thank you. And yours as well. Thank you.
But thank you so much. It's just remarkable where we find ourselves. With that, I would love to bring in Danny. Have you met this young man? Danny Devito. And no, not the actor. Hello, Danny. How are you?
Good,
Oh,
Kathy.
I
How are
can
you?
hear
Thanks for
you.
having me on the show.
Oh, can you turn up your volume? As Danny is working with that, let me introduce him. You guys may have heard about him. I've heard about him watching Fox and Friends, I believe it was. I can't remember. But Danny Devito, not the actor, is a 27-year-old Republican candidate for state rep in the 45th district, just west of Pittsburgh. Danny has taken Governor Tom Wolf to court, arguing that Wolf's recent shutdown order for non-essential businesses is unconstitutional. So that is what I first heard about you, Danny, on Fox and Friends. Where does I think you were one of the first people, if not the first person to actually file and order a lawsuit against the governor.
That's correct. Can you hear me?
A little bit. Your volume's low, but maybe others can hear you fine. Okay, we're going to come back with Danny in a moment. But tell me, Senator Mastriano, where do we find ourselves right now with reopening our state?
Well, it's at the whims and mercy of the governor, and thankfully, several of the counties that didn't chicken out went forward. Lebanon County went ahead and they left the red phase there on their own volition, and that's the way it should be. And Beaver County did that as well without the governor's permission. But in the meantime, the governor's going to drag this out, it seems like, into perpetuity. I'm beside myself here. I have Senate Resolution 323 to end this, and Russ Diamond on the House side has House Resolution 836. And if we get a vote on that, we can end this. But the problem is that it's the view of the attorneys that we need 2/3 of the Senate to vote on it. That means I need 6 Democrats to break ranks. And only last week, finally, 2 months in this whole situation here, only last week, a couple finally broke ranks on a significant vote, but not as significant as this would be. So I mean, I got to hand it to the Democrats. They stick together like glue, come heck and high water. But that's a tall order. But I'm of the position we need to run this and get everybody on the record, whether they're for the governor's shutdown or not. Listen,
I am of the firm belief that they right now, our governor and various other leaders, they know that we are law-abiding citizens.
Yes.
And I believe that they are banking on the fact that we will just shut our mouths and do as we're told. And it is not and they are not going to move the needle. They're not going to feel a rush or a pinch in their style, because Governor Wolf continues to get groomed. His barber apparently is considered essential. So whereas my hairstylist is forced to close her business, his is considered essential. So they feel no rush to open up, and I earnestly believe that they're not going to feel the rush to open up until the people begin to no longer be silent.
And that's the key thing here. We can't be. So earlier in the week, I was shocked and dismayed to see the 2 police officers banged on a barbershop in Enola, PA, outside of Harrisburg, run by Brad Shepard. It's called Shep's Barbershop. And threatening him with shutdown. You can't be open. And Shep, Navy veteran, was very calm. He was calmer than I would be, because his constitutional rights are being trampled on and squandered there by those officers who lack any discernment and common sense. Anyone in law enforcement watching this, please do not do this. But anyway, he remained calm and filmed it. And he got an awful letter from the governor threatening all sorts of coercion, punishment, fees, fines. And so we held a rally in honor of him. 3 senators, 5 reps went to his shop there and spoke in honor of him. And he broke down in tears, because this should not happen in America. Yeah. So Wolf and Levine are telling us to sacrifice. They're laying out all these restrictions on us, but they're above it. Wolf is hiding in some getaway home, driving around here and there. Levine, who knows what Levine's up to, but we're the ones sacrificing. They're losing nothing. And the people are tired of it. That's why the other day we had our rally in Harrisburg for Reopen PA, and the Capitol Police had 5,000 people were there. That's a sleeping giant waking up. I look at my official page for the Senate, which it's only been around for 11 months, and it's exploded. People want leadership. They want to get out of the situation, and now they're being involved. They're rising up here and saying enough. And a lot of churches open up Sunday, irregardless of the governor's edicts, because we have religious protections here. And there's no compelling reason. There is no compelling reason why the governor can trample on our rights.
Here in Montgomery County, 88% of the deaths tragically has occurred in nursing homes. So 70% at the state level, almost 70% at the state level, over 88% of the deaths here in Montgomery County, where I reside, have taken place tragically in nursing homes. And now we have the incumbent that I'm running against. She calls herself Mad Madeline Dean. She too hiding away somewhere. No one sees her unless she's on television doing, a national spot or putting out or running campaigns for Biden, running town hall meetings for Biden. Other than that, she put out a post, a tweet a couple of days ago saying that she stands with Governor Wolf and Dr. Levine. And yet, here in our own backyard, 88% of the deaths are taking place in nursing homes. Come to find out that although they were forced to admit COVID-19 positive patients, they were not given adequate PPE. They were not given additional staff to help. And we know that these facilities are already strained. Their employees are already strained. We know that I know firsthand account that they do not have, even to this day, adequate PPE equipment. They don't have N95 masks. They're walking around with cloth masks on. And yet these people are very vulnerable. And my own incumbent here, Madeline Dean, is saying she stands with Wolf. It's incomprehensible what we're finding ourselves living through right now.
And so when you stand with the governor in these reprehensible, fatal decisions, you stand against the people. When you stand with the secretary and the governor with his medical malpractice, you stand against our loved ones. When you stand with the governor on his mishandling of the crisis, where he's like sleepwalking through it, crashing the furniture, leaving a mess behind for us to clean up, you stand against the people. When I'm on the floor of the Senate and I see bills to get people back to work safely with CDC requirements, and I see my So that's really telling to me the situation that we have.
It really is. And I saw that picture with you and what is the gentleman's name? Brad Shepler, and I got emotional. I put it out on my Facebook page. You guys can go to my Facebook page there and you can see it's you consoling him. The AP picked that up. You consoling this veteran who simply wants to open up his barbershop so that he can provide for his family. You're consoling him and he's crying. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm sure you feel the same way. I mean, I was never deployed during my time in the military, but it was a very present thought that at any moment I could be. And if I am, my life could radically change. And I remember as a young girl thinking to myself, would I do it? And I decided that I would, because I love my country. It started me on this quest of understanding and learning about my nation. And I would have laid my life down had I been called to do so. And now you're coming back to your own nation, to your own country, and you're watching, these authoritarian Nazi Germany style tactics that are taking place. And I find it very sad. It's scary almost how quickly our nation has pivoted against its own in some regards.
And I'm with you. I never imagined when I was Lieutenant Mastriano serving in the Iron Curtain at East German Czechoslovakian borders during the final years of the Cold War, that sort of system of oppression, of spying, of control would ever come to our shores. And Ronald Reagan gave a speech in 1961, and it's chilling where he lays out where this could happen, and it's unfolding before our eyes. And he rightly says it's up to us to keep this republic. Just as Benjamin Franklin said in 1787, coming out of Carpenter's Hall in Philadelphia, what do we have, Mr. Franklin, a republic or a king? And he said, a republic if you can keep it. Now it's our turn to keep it. Yeah,
we have to keep it. We have to keep it. And we can't sleepwalk through it. Right. I mean, I was talking to someone earlier today. They was like, maybe we should just, trust the experts. And I'm thinking the experts have been wrong every single time on this issue. From the very beginning, when the WHO came out and told us there is no human to human contact. And yet, and Dr. Fauci echoed that sentiment, and come to find out they were wrong, right? I mean, all the way through it, whether it's the CDC telling the president 2.2 million Americans were going to die. Wrong. The president closes the border. They call him a racist. Wrong. Right now we know that probably saved millions of lives.
That's
And
right.
yet we come here, we see what Dr. Levine is doing by targeting our most vulnerable members of the society as it relates to this virus. And yet there are some of us who are still saying, let's just trust the experts. What do you say to them?
I say that's a weak way to go. That's cowardly. The experts, as you delineated there very correctly, have been wrong over and over again. So I'm of the mind, what are we still doing in lockdown? It's 0.38% of our total population has COVID, could have had it, would have had it, may have had it. I'm being facetious here because our secretary is exploding the numbers on purpose by design to keep us in oppression. And then we turn around here and you subtract out those in the elder care facilities and we're down to 0.1%. And so it's in a 99% recovery rate. So it's not justified. There's no compelling reason to suppress our freedoms. We need to be a free people. I choose to be free. I'm not walking around with a face mask because I don't see the threat there. And it's just time for us to say enough is enough. And I hope that the rest of the counties in the red zone, especially in your area there, will start taking the fate in their own hands as well.
I love that. Let me bring on real quickly Vicki Lightcamp, Mayor Vicki Lightcamp. Is she available?
Hello, how are you, Kathy?
Hello, I hear you so well. How are you?
Great to see you again.
Great to see you too.
Yes. So guys, let me tell you about Vicki. Vicki Lightcamp. She is the mayor of Pittsburgh. And Vicki, you are running for state rep for the 131st district in Montgomery County, right?
It covers Montgomery, Lehigh, and Northampton County. But yep, Montgomery County is where I'm coming out of.
Now, I wanted to bring her in, Senator Mastriano, because I thought it was very courageous, Vicki, what you did not too long ago. You want to tell everyone what you just did?
Well, to give you some background, I started to realize we in our particular area, and especially my community, we for the very long time had 0 cases. And then it jumped to 2 and then 3, and then it stayed there for weeks. And I started to get information through other resources that the peak had happened, that the plateau had happened, and we were on a decrease. And the other thing that kept happening was I was hearing from businesses going, if we don't get open soon, I'm either not the newer businesses that were coming in. They said, we're not going to ever be able to open. And then I had others that were saying, you know, we can't survive on the income that we are doing. We need to do something. So I started to look into it. And basically, during my mayor's report on Tuesday night, I came out and I had asked council if it would be possible to draw up an ordinance. And council said, well, with the help of the attorney, they did a 20 to 30 minute discussion on this after I read my letter, which gave all the particulars about how domestic violence is increasing and all of those things. The domestic violence calls are increasing in our area. And so I read my letter and council agreed to allow me to draw up a resolution that would help support our small businesses and give them choice. It doesn't mean that we're saying you need to open. If you choose to stay closed, that's quite all right with us, okay? But if you have to open so that you can feed your children, then we're going to sit behind you and we're going to help you. We're going to support you and we're not going to stand in your way. And the other thing is,
I love it.
A lot of the loans, since I did this, I've been threatened twice. But some of the loans and things that a lot of our small businesses were going for, they weren't able to get. They couldn't even get the self-employed unemployment. And some of them, regular working people, were also still not receiving some of their unemployment. And today I rode by Walmart. We went in, got a fan, put our mask on, went in, got a fan, walked out, and there's hundreds of cars there. Now, how is that considered a safer area than to actually have small businesses open in our town, where they can take on all of the guidelines. And again, the CDC guidelines are going to be followed. I had salons call me and go, Vic, we put in 1,200 hours on this alone for viruses that come in. They go, the CDC guidelines, we surpassed them. And I'm like, so to me, how can we not stand behind our businesses? We live in America. What kind of government do we have that would rather destroy us instead of getting behind us and building us up?
I love it. Vicki, you know what? And I absolutely, I wanted to bring you on because I think this is exactly where we have to be as a nation. I mean, we have to see that this virus is real. I don't think anyone here, Senator Mastriano, I don't want to speak for you, but, and you as well, Vicki, but no one here believes this virus is not real. I believe we all have a healthy respect and of this virus, recognizing that it is serious. No one is taking it lightly, and yet we have to have the ability to pivot with new information. And it was one of the things the president said very early on. We don't want the cure to be worse than the disease. And we're now experiencing in many places throughout this particular state, but also across the nation, where the cure of trying to, you know, we need to stay closed to flatten the curve. We need to stay closed until we get proper testing. All of these things are becoming worse than the disease itself. Senator Mastriano?
Well, you know, the father of microeconomics, Dr. Keene, says, my opinion changes when the information changes. Then he says, what do you do? And that's what I say to Governor Wolf, Secretary Levine. The information has changed, and they haven't pivoted. They've dug their heels in here and are bent on destroying the economy and the lives of people. As you said at the beginning in the monologue here, so we had these precautions. We believed them. We gave them the benefit of the doubt. We all sacrificed and surrendered much more than they did, clearly, and continue to do so. Now the information changes. Instead of just opening up the state here safely and in a solid timeline, the governor is stumbling through this process here. And that's why it's great that Vicki and others are rising up saying, no, it's time for us to take fate in our own hands. We're a free people here. The information changed. You know, we have poor leadership or no leadership in Harrisburg. I don't even know where Governor Wolf is. I keep going to his office, can't find him. And so it's time for Pennsylvania to rise up. And
I heard that. You went to he called you a coward. So you walk over to his office, knock on the door, because of course that's what cowards do. They go and confront you. What happened when you got there?
I went to his office and live streamed it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this past week here. And so he wants to use military terminology. Let me lay out the truth here. The man is missing in action. He's absent without leave. He's derelict in his duties. He's not.
He's AWOL. He's AWOL.
He needs to be court-martialed because he's not where he should be as a governor of the state. Where is he? Where is Wolf?
I even invited him to come to Pittsburgh so he could tell the people directly, like, I'm sorry, but I got to keep you shut down. I think he needs to see these faces when he stays in his little.
I think Vicki, I think that's a wonderful point. Senator, do you know if he has gone out to visit people, come out of Harrisburg and gone out to actually walk and talk and visit his constituents? Do you know if he's done that?
Yeah, after Friday when I banged on his door and he wasn't there, I kept filming, came out to the thousands that were there and said he should be talking to these people and asking them how life has changed and whether his decisions are good or bad. He hasn't been anywhere. He's missing in action, and he's disconnected from reality. I don't know if he's at Mount Wolf on high waiting for another revelation or where. At the beach house with his sister, in Philly with his daughter, or the governor's mansion. We have no idea where he is. Tell me, where is he?
You know what? I was talking to a young lady the other day. She is a legalized immigrant, came to this nation, worked very hard, got her degree, became a paralegal, worked very hard, saved her money because her dream was to open up a hair salon. And she did just that. She opened up a hair salon, doing really well. This January, business was doing so well. She expanded. She used her savings to expand into the adjacent building, into the adjacent office space, and beautifully renovated the whole area. I talked to her 2 Fridays ago. She started crying, saying, I'm going to have to close my business. She has, to your point, Vicki, she has not received any of those PPE personal loans. She's received nothing. Can't get anything. She just keeps being told to submit more and more paperwork and has received absolutely nothing. And this story is becoming more and more prevalent. How are our leaders having a deaf ear to this, Senator?
Well, because they're staying on high. They're sitting in their ivory towers issuing edicts like totalitarians, and they should be out with the people. The governor needs to pivot, needs to adapt and overcome, and instead he's just staying the course here. And it's causing a lot of trouble. The president is coming to Pennsylvania. Last week he came, and that was to send a message to governor. Pennsylvania needs to open up more quickly. Otherwise, it's going to take us years to recover. Right now, it looks like about 20% or so of the small businesses will not recover. And each day that goes by, it's another death knell for another business. And one business owner wrote me rightly and said, Doug, business is not what we do, it's who we are. And just as a story you told us, it's case of that. That's somebody's pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And now we have Governor Wolf telling us we don't have those rights. And he needs to change. He needs to adapt. And otherwise, we just need to rise up and say, okay, it's enough. This has gone too far. Stop.
Yes. 2 more questions, because I know you have to leave to go to your very highly watched live stream on Facebook on your page. Is it your Facebook? Is it your official Facebook page, Senator Doug Mastriano?
Yes.
So people can see you there at 8 p.m. So you guys can stay here while I'm on and then jump off and go over to his. Don't leave mine right now. His start at 8. I'll be done before then. But 2 questions. Can you repeat that statistic you just gave about 20% of small businesses?
So obviously this is an assessment looking at the situation right now. And the assessment is by business insiders is about 20% of small businesses will not reopen, will not recover at this point. And the longer this drags on, it could go as high as 40% across Pennsylvania. And that is just ridiculous. We need to stop this now. We need to rise up and reassert our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so this is a serious issue for the governor, who's wanted for nothing all his life, receiving his father's money and inheritance, and then standing aside here and causing a crisis in our lives. And as you said, suicides are way up. In some counties, domestic violence is up 400%. That's the unseen cost. And you said early on, so right now, the treatment is worse than the virus. That's a fact. People are suffering, and it needs to end.
Oh, Senator, thank you so much for giving us your time. I look forward to you and I and so many others bringing the heat on Thursday. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. God bless you. Have a good one.
Oh, blessings. I know.
Thank you, Senator.
Let me salute you first. Yes. Hierarchy, chain of command. You got to keep that in line. Vicki, thank you so much for your courageous leadership. I believe not only what you did, gives hope to those who are watching, but I think it teaches leadership to our leaders, right? This is how you lead. You don't lead from behind, which unfortunately the Republican Party has a tendency of doing quite often, is leading from behind.
Both of us, don't they?
I'm sorry?
I think they need both of us out there for them, don't they?
Let me tell you, the problem with Washington, D.C., I've said it over and over again, is that they do not have enough Joe the Plumbers or little black girls from pig farms there sitting in those seats, deliberating in those debates. Instead, they have way too many Ivy Leagues and lawyers in those positions. That is the problem with our nation right now, is that we have too many lawyers and quote unquote elites running this nation. We need people who understand what it means to open up the refrigerator and not have enough food in there, right? We need more of those people to represent us. Vicki, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for showing the Republican Party specifically how to lead from the front.
Thank you. I wish you all the best in your race also.
Oh, yes. And tell everyone again how they can find out more information about you and what you're doing.
I'm on Facebook, Lightcap for the 131st. And I do have a website, which is VickyLightcap.com.
Thank you very much, guys. Vote for her. We got to get it in. Okay. Hey, listen. We're going to have the commercial in a moment. We're going to put up another one of those graphics this Thursday, guys. This Thursday. We have talked about it. You have seen us out there on Facebook talking about it. You've heard, you've seen Senator Doug Mastriano going all across this state, and now he will be coming down from Franklin County all the way down here to our county to help us, speak to power. But it is time to be silent no more. It is now or never. As the senator said, 20%, the assessment right now is 20% of small businesses will not return. I don't know about you guys, but I do know what it feels like to go to the refrigerator and not have enough food there. I don't want to get emotional, but this is personal. And what people are contending with and having to go through, it is real. I know what going to bed and hungry feels like. As many of you know, I grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama. I grew up below the bottom rung of the economic ladder, very impoverished. And I worked extremely hard to be able to carve out a life for myself and for my family. I wanted more than anything else for my children not to suffer through the struggles that I went through as a young child. But that my story, I believe, is reflective of so many other stories out there. My story reflects so many of you who have worked so hard and have done so much to build a life for yourself. And that is the reason why I'm in this fight. I am not in this fight for power so that I can control you. I am in this fight so that I can give control back to we the people. But I need your help. I need you to go to KathyBarnettForCongress.com, and I need you to donate today. I understand so many of you. I'm so grateful to so many of you. I look at what it is you guys are sending to us by way of checks, by way of electronically on WinRed. Again, you can go to KathyBarnettForCongress.com and you can donate today. And I see what you guys are giving. I am getting donations, $10, $5, $50, a couple of $1,000. Thank you very much. I appreciate those as well. But what I'm seeing is that you guys are giving out of your lack. None of us have a tremendous amount, or most of us, many of us do not. And yet you're giving anyway. And I appreciate that. It encourages us. It gives wind underneath what it is that we're trying to do. I solely want to get to DC in order to give the control back to we the people. These people laugh at us when we say we the people. They chuckle at us when we say you work for us. Does it feel like they're working for us right now? Does it feel like Dr. Levine and Governor Wolf is working for us? Does it feel that way? It's because they have forgotten. What I want you guys to do, two things. One, donate. Donate now. I'll even be okay with you hopping off to go do that and then coming right back here. But please go to KathyBarnettForCongress.com and give today, because I cannot get to November 3rd without you. If you're waiting for me to suddenly come up with several thousands of dollars, it's not going to happen. It's only going to happen with you guys. That is how we're going to do this, okay? Because again, I come from a pig farm, so I didn't inherit millions of dollars like Governor Wolf and so many others. What we've been able to do is because of the American dream that is fading for so many of us right now. And this is something we got to get angry about. We got to get angry about. We have to be ready to no longer be silent. And let me also say, this Thursday, I need you there. I need you there. Don't sit and wait to see what other people are going to do and then jump on the back of it when it takes off. be there with us, on the steps with us. And what I want you to do is to make signs. If you are a business owner, what I want you to do, this rally is for you. It really is for you. I want to give you a voice. It is time for us not to be silent any longer. We will have media there. We will be speaking to a variety of people. It is time for your voices as well to be heard. I want you to make signs. I want you to put the name of your business on that sign. I want you to put how many employees you employ. And I want you to tell your COVID-19 story, this economy, what's happening if we don't reopen soon. And we're going to walk around the courthouse, and then we're going to stand there in front of cameras, and we're going to be live streaming it all to the nation, and we're going to let people see your stories. I'm going to even be calling some of you up to the mic to share your stories. So find my people when you're there. Let them know you want to speak. I mean, guys, it is now or never. This is our nation. These people have forgotten that. I think Danny is available to come back on. Is Danny? Danny, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. I'm so grateful that you were able to fix your the technical side of things and that you made it back on.
Oh, thanks, Kathy. We appreciate you having us on, and we're happy that it worked out too.
Yes. Tell me, how is everything going with your campaign?
You know, things are a little bit difficult. I mean, as you know, the campaigns were shut down along with small businesses, but we're doing a lot of work on social media, in the press, and as you know, working to reopen Pennsylvania has gotten us a lot of attention. So we're hoping that that works out also on the campaign trail.
Yeah, listen, having a name like Danny Devito doesn't hurt, right?
You know, you're talking about how some candidates have wealth in their back pocket, family money. I said, you know what? I have a good name, so I'm going to use that too. And you know,
you're gonna use it, because when I heard your name on Fox and Friends, I was like, Danny Devito is running. He lives here in Pennsylvania. And then I Googled and found you.
The left has their Danny DeVito, and now conservatives have their own Danny DeVito.
Yes, let's help our Danny DeVito.
Absolutely.
So tell me, so you got into the news because I think maybe you were the first to actually file a lawsuit against Governor Wolf.
That's right. Friends of Danny DeVito and a few other businesses were the first to file a lawsuit like day 2 or 3 of the lockdown with attorney Mark Scaringi. Because we saw early on the constitutional problems with his lockdown order. We saw the statutory problems. But most importantly, we saw how it was affecting small businesses in my district. And we said, we have an obligation to stand up for them. And if I want to represent them in Harrisburg in November, I have to start doing it now. Yes. So we were the first to file the lawsuit, correct?
Listen, we are not the typical Republican establishment, are we?
Absolutely not. And you know what? The Republican Party belongs to the people. And I think that campaigns like mine, campaigns like yours, Senator Mastriano, we're all showing that this is a party that belongs to working and middle-class people in this country that want to stand up for our traditional American values. And that's what we're seeing happen across my district and now, you know, across the Commonwealth.
Yes, exactly. I love it. I wanted my people to be able to hear your story, to hear your courage and what it is that how you're leading from the front and not from behind, which we are very used to the Republican Party, unfortunately, doing. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. And, you know, we're going to keep fighting, you know, for people in my district, but people in your district too. And, you know, we were the first to call also for the impeachment of Wolf and Fetterman on the steps of the Capitol. And we just want to really keep putting the pressure on in any way that we can to get rid of Levine, to get rid of Alexiak, the Secretary of Labor and Industry, who has no qualifications, because people are suffering. People are losing businesses. Their health is at risk because this shutdown needs to come to an end.
Now, listen, you know, there are many who are saying the choice is clear. Either you want to save lives or you're a greedy capitalist. Do you accept that?
I totally reject that. And I would actually flip it around on them. You know, mental health cases are on the rise. We're seeing so many people, you know, they lose money. Economics directly affects people's health. Health insurance through jobs. If businesses close and can no longer provide health insurance, we're going to see health problems increase. We're also seeing people who need so-called elective medicine being denied that. That's not really elective medicine. That's what Wolf says is elective medicine. So we're very concerned about people's health. but we also know people have a need for mental health. They have a need for socialization, and they have a need to get cancer treatments. And Governor Wolf is not letting that happen. So if we don't reopen, that's when you're going to see real health issues rise. And that's not to say COVID-19 hasn't been a problem for some people. It certainly has. But we need to look at this in a very broad manner, and we need to show real concern for people and listen to what the working and middle class people need, not what one or two experts in their ivory towers are telling us that we need.
And not even qualified expert, because Dr. Levine is a child psychiatrist with a focus on eating disorder. She is not a virologist. She is not an epidemiologist.
Absolutely not.
So, I mean, it's very disturbing that we have these particular people leading us, and they're not, and yet they're always telling us to listen to the experts, to listen to the science, and it doesn't seem as though they're doing so. Now, I wanted to say something that I intended to mention it when Senator Mastriano was on, because it was actually a part of his letter that he sent to Governor Wolf to force the resignation of Dr. Levine, and that is what you just mentioned about elective surgeries. Now, again, we were told to shut ourselves in because for a variety of reasons. One, we wanted to give the states the opportunity to get ahead of this virus, right? We wanted to make sure that we had adequate PPE equipment. We wanted to make sure we did not have a run on hospital beds. And today we accomplished that. We accomplished what we initially set out to do. So much so that according to one of Dr. Levine's notes, hospital beds, there are only less than 2% of hospital beds are being occupied by COVID-19. So that means we did not have a run on beds. There's enough of everything that we need. So why would they not want hospitals to now be open to now have the income necessary in order and open it up to elective surgeries?
You know, I really think, as sick as it sounds, that a lot of this is they don't want to admit they're wrong, or they want to keep the crisis going as a way to shut down the economy. You know, to not allow people in the hospitals for elective surgeries and even everyday care, it just shows a complete and total disregard for the needs of people in the Commonwealth. I mean, you have people like Wolf and Levine. These are people that can get care no matter what. These are people that have their own doctors or their doctors, and they're going to get care if they need it for their family members, as we saw with Levine. You know, Dr. Levine was able to get her mother out, you know, and put in a hotel. But on other issues, you know, they're able to get the medical care that they need. And all we're saying is we want the people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to be treated the same as the governor, the same as the Secretary of Health, not treated like second-class citizens. I'm talking to nurses across the district and actually across the Commonwealth who are afraid of being laid off now because there's not enough work to be done in the hospitals. To me, that really says that Levine has totally failed in her responsibilities and has, you know, in my opinion, needs to be removed immediately so that we get somebody in there who, like you said, is an actual expert and somebody who has a love for the people of the Commonwealth.
I mean, just think about it, because everyone is now talking to us. Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, and others are telling us a second wave is coming. If a second wave is going to come, don't we want our hospitals to be as prepared and as healthy financially even as possible to take on that second wave? So why, when there is no run on hospitals, COVID-19 is not the death sentence that we were initially told that it is. I know a number of people, we have millions of people who have contracted it and have recovered from it, right? And so why would they not want these places? Because to me, cancer treatment is not elective. You kind of need that, right?
You do. And if we put off all of these so-called elective treatments to down the road, then if there's a second wave coming, you're going to have double the amount of people in the hospital that should be there. And like you said, we need to be preparing for that now. Let's get these surgeries out of the way so we're back to a normal schedule. So if, God forbid, a second wave happens, and a big if, like you said, you know, the hospitals will be prepared to take on the patients, and we'll have a population that's healthy and able to resist the virus. Absolutely, I agree.
I agree. Danny, I am so very glad that your technical difficulties were resolved and you were able to come on and we were able to hear your voice. How can people find out more information about you?
Well, thanks, Kathy. I'm happy they were resolved too. And our website is www.dannydevitopa.com. And all of our social media is at DannyDevitoPA. But if they go to our website, DannyDevitoPA.com, all of our information's there, and they'll be able to track us down.
Danny, you are awesome. Keep up the good fight. I hope to be celebrating right along with you come November 3rd.
Well, thanks, Kathy, and I'm sure we will be celebrating victories together. And thanks for having me on.
Exactly. Thank you very much for coming on. Okay, guys, listen, that's a wrap for us. I'm so very grateful for all of you. My commercial is going to start queuing up right now. But listen, please go to KathyBarnettForCongress.com. Donate. We need you. I cannot do this without you. I never intended to do it without you. Also, make sure, go ahead and plan it, pencil it in. Most of you are self-quarantined anyway. So come on out and go downtown, Norristown, at the state capitol. Meet us there. I want to keep calling him doctor because he has a PhD. But Senator Douglas Mastriano will be there. So, and a whole lot of other people. You want to be a part of this. You want to be in the front, not on the tail end, trying to jump in once this has already taken off. You want to be there. You want to be a part of doing the right thing and opening up our state because it's the right thing to do. Thank you guys so much. Blessings. See you next week.
I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and Black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad.